because he likes to not know. So that's a picture of the peace pole with that beautiful quote from John, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you, not as the world gives, do I give to you. Do not let your heart be troubled, nor let it be fearful." So let's just remember it's otherworldly peace that's represented by that peace pole. And I wanted to ask people if they're willing to talk. I know some of John has something to say about putting up the peace pole, but Cindy's going to go around with the microphone and say, what is the symbol for you of we moved the peace pole from inside to outside? It feels very momentous to me that we moved it from inside our own prayer tower to put it outside the building. But I thought if you want to think about it for a moment and you had anything to share, maybe John would be willing to say what part of the process was that they did, part of the ritual that the three guys, as they were joking and putting up the peace pole.
Well, I think for me, the first thing where I want to start out at is about a year ago, and I want to thank Phyllis for giving an inspirational moment and talking about peace poles and their power. And for me, I didn't even know there was a peace pole up in the tower. And so after services that day, I went upstairs and I spent some time there. And for me, it was very powerful, and I realized at that moment I wanted to be a part of that. So my second thank you is to Roland for all the work that he did, and Dan for allowing me to be a part of carrying the peace pole up and down the stairs. It was really fun. The part that was so exciting to me was when we took that peace pole off of its pedestal, and underneath it there was a signature by the installer dated January 2nd, 1991. So it's been with us for about 15 years now. And Phyllis mentioned putting something in the pole, and I thought, that's inspirational. So I wrote up a note, and Dan and Roland and I signed it, and we dated it, and we put some previous history on it. But I think the most important part of the note that I put on there was on the back side of it is a request, a prayer request for peace. And that's what I found when I went upstairs, taking that action and finding a moment of quiet and solitude and having peace within. So I encourage and urge everyone to take a moment with a peace pole for yourselves and just have that moment.
Anybody else have something they want to say about what they think the meaning of it is? And Mavis has something.
Every morning at 5:45 in Windyville, Missouri, there is a prayer for peace. The school authored about 17 years ago a World Peace Covenant. For me, and I hope for you, peace is that presence that is in every one of us. It is a power given to us at birth. It is a gift we're asked to share. And I hope that all of you on Tuesday morning and on Wednesday morning will send the essence of you and our existence to everyone in this country and beyond.
Thank you. And I just add to continue that even beyond Wednesday, right? Every single day, regardless of the results. Was there somebody else? Christy, did you? Oh, that's good.
I really believe there's no such thing as coincidence. There's just a lot of synchronicity and yesness in the world. And yesterday, I work with prenatal women. I teach yoga to them. And yesterday, I passed out a bowl to each of the women, and they drew a card that had a single name on it. And one woman drew the name of peace. And I asked each person to hold their piece of paper to their belly, to their baby, and just meditate on what that word meant to them, why it was important in this pregnancy or this moment or whatever. And this woman started crying when it came to be her turn. And it wasn't sad tears, it was joyful tears. And she said, I pulled peace. And her name is Erin. And she said, my name means peace. And kind of like what you just said, and what you just said, and what you just said, she shared something about bringing from the inside of her baby, and sending this baby peace. And this baby was already teaching her so much about peace. And she was going to be bringing that peace out into the world. And for all these women who are carrying sacred vessels to these little peaceful beings, and that they were all going to be not only teachers to their babies, but their babies would be teachers and warriors of peace to them. And it just so struck me. I mean, I could barely walk home yesterday with just both the gravity and the lightness of that. It was intense, and I just couldn't even really feel it or express it until now. And just when you put that up, I was just so quickly struck with that powerful moment from yesterday. So really cool to witness that.
Thanks. And if more of you have things to say, I invite you to share on the Facebook page, or if you don't have Facebook, send me an email, or talk about it next week. Because I'm pretty sure that the peace pole means something to everybody. For me, the symbol is that we are moving it outside, and it's an important, I guess it's a thought being made real in the world to me, in a real way. Of course, it was already real upstairs, but putting it outside represents to me that we as a community are going to be more of a force for peace, that the people of Unity of Des Moines are going to step up, and we are going to be peace in Des Moines, each one of us. And here's how we're going to do it. And we're all synchronous, I think. We're all thinking about the same thing. Starting with seeing the unity of the country right now and on Tuesday and after the elections. Working with all levels of consciousness. Seeing the Christ in each child, woman, and man. I want to say something that I believe is very important, echoed by what all of us have said already. And that is, it is our choice to see the Christ in each child, woman, and man. And that means in the people that we think or that we feel, we have strong feelings about, who do not represent peace to us. People are feeling very strong about who they're going to vote for and what's going to happen. I've heard people talk about being so afraid. I've heard both, certainly both groups, more than one group, how many groups there are, talk about, I'm going to be so fearful if this person wins. I'm going to be so fearful if this person wins. And we, here, with our unity faith, we can be a force for equanimity and knowing that all things work together for good. Really, all things, no matter what happens. All things can work together for good because we are going to see the Christ in each person. Even that person that you feel is an enemy. And, I'm not letting myself out of this. I mean, I have strong feelings too. And I've said stuff like, I'm afraid of this or I'm afraid of that. And the last 2 days I've been, I took that peace pole seriously, and I have been seeing the other person. I've been seeing the Christ in every single person, no matter what their level of consciousness is. Obviously, we're working through different levels of consciousness, I'm not saying that all actions are good by any means, but I'm saying that we can start by seeing the Christ. And it is like magic. It isn't magic, but it is like magic what happens when you behold your enemy as the Christ. It literally transforms them. I've had many experiences where somebody has bugged the heck out of me and they've been behaving badly. And I have been able to look at them as the Christ, and not only does my attitude change, but something shifts in the universe, and they change too. And I see people nodding because you have had that experience. So let us remember that together, all of us, this whole week, and on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, and going forward. I know we will. Now, I've been talking about intention, and the intention of surrounding the earth with unconditional love and a world that works for all. That is one of the phrases in Unity's, Worldwide Unity Ministries' vision and mission from their old mission that I love. A world that works for all. I love to remember that. And you may notice that that's the green light, the heart chakra light. It's also the green lantern light, which, all the superhero nerds are going to like that. But we are surrounding the earth with unconditional love because we believe in a world that works for all. Now, this intention, we're going to use two big steps. We're going to heal our unconscious patterns, right? Yeah, just like that. As you can tell, the underneath part of the iceberg is the representation of our unconditional patterns. And how we do that with impartial self-observation, with curiosity, with mindfulness, with loving kindness towards everybody, and starting with ourselves. For bringing our unconscious, we ask to bring our unconscious behaviors into the light of love and ask God, all that is, the Christ, for help. We do not have to do this alone. There is spiritual help available. One of the things I like to say a lot is, okay, I ask for all the spiritual help that is available to me right now. I'm willing to accept it. This prayer is a very powerful prayer, and the help is available, and it will be available to you. I have experienced that time and time again, and many of you have experienced that too. So remember that. So we'll spend future Sundays on more details about healing our unconscious patterns, for sure, because it's a process. It's not just a jump to the left and a step to the right. It's a little harder than that. Healing our unconscious patterns. There's lots of different ways. Asking for the spiritual support, and get support that's here. Get support from groups, classes, prayers, services. There's plenty of support. Now, the next big step for surrounding the earth with unconditional love, besides heal our unconscious patterns, is to choose the Christ consciousness. That's the big step. Well, how do we choose the Christ consciousness? It can be as simple as choosing. There's been a few days when I said, I choose the Christ consciousness, and everything transformed. And there's been a few other days when I said, I choose the Christ consciousness. It's like, I said, I choose the Christ consciousness. It seems as if the universe isn't quite responding as fast as you'd like. Well, here's an interesting scripture that I want to look at. It's in it's in all the four Gospels, but here's how Luke says it. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the new wine will burst the skins and will be spilled out, and the skins will be destroyed. Well, we've heard that story and we've heard it explained, and I don't know about you, but I don't relate to that story much because I don't actually make wine, and the people I know who make wine don't use wineskins. So I have a new metaphor. And I'm pretty sure you're going to relate to this. Let's see. I'm just going to assume that you've all had some experience with a computer or a phone or a tablet, at least a TV and a clicker, right? All right. And when you have a computer and you love it and it works well for you and it's time to get new software and you get some new software, in the computer and the new software, they're not happy. Right? Have you ever had, you just like, wait a minute, why are you not working? Why are you not working? I have stuff to do. I have so much to do. Why are you not working? Sorry, I was just reimagining a day I had a couple weeks ago. And I don't know about you, but the way things update so much, I kind of feel like I've told myself that every single day something's going to update and I'm going to have to do something. My phone, my computer, some program's going to update and I'm going to have to do something different than the way I did it before to make it work. So there comes a point when your computer is not compatible with the new software. It's not working. So you can get some more memory. That works for a while. And sometimes you just have to get a new computer. The computer cannot handle the new software. It's always a little traumatic for me because that means I have to learn new things. Because even if it's the almost same model, there's going to be new things that are different, right? So we really do get to experience this new metaphor a lot, And what I want to say is it's a little painful. The wineskins bursting was a little painful. If you pour the new wine into the old wineskins, bursting, that sounds not good. I don't know about you, but every time I go to complete something and there's a new way I have to do it, either online or in my computer, I don't know why I still freak out, but I do. I freak out a little bit like, well, it's like, this is different. Yeah, it's different. So the spiritual story about this is we want to embrace this metaphor, okay? We want the new software. We want the Christ software in us. We really do. It's going to be better. And somehow we have to strike that balance of noticing that it's a little edgy and it's painful and we might have to learn something new, and that attitude that really helps is fully embracing it and stepping into it, as it were. I'm going to step into it. You get the new computer. Here's a brand new computer. It has all the memory it needs for all this new software, and you load in the new software, and it's going to work beautifully. And for us, so I can tell I'm way attached to the computer story because I have all this personal feeling. So jumping back into the metaphor for the Christ, and I'm going to ask you to jump with me, it's all the same thing, right? So let us remember that we are human beings and have kindness and loving compassion for us when we choose the new wine. We choose to be the Christ. That means we choose to see the Christ in every child, woman, and man that we come across. I believe that we can spend time every day. That can be a spiritual practice. You will not run out of annoying people. You will not run out of people that do not seem like the Christ. In fact, they seem like the Antichrist. They're everywhere. Roland and I disagree about a lot of things, but I actually don't think he's the Antichrist. However, and I actually love him a lot, and I still sometimes feel as if, like, I know you're the Christ. I know you're the Christ. I know you're the Christ, right? So the reason I'm bringing that up is just to remind you that you don't have to look very far for people to practice with, and also to remind you that it is absolutely super critical that we do this. All we have to do is look at the flavor of this election, which is let's say, it's a little unhappy. Let me just state, I'm just going to say that some of the negative tone that has gone on is a little upsetting to me and alarming to people. We can shift it. Right? We can shift it right here, right now. We got to start with us. We got to start with us. I'm going to ask everybody right now to do a meditation with me, and I want you to pick a political candidate who you don't love. You're going to see their face, who you don't love. And what I want you to do is see them surrounded by light, as a light being. Okay? Don't, you see their face for a minute, and then just see them turned into light. Okay? See them turned into light? They are a light being. And get that love vibration going inside you, and just send it out and send it across to them, their being of light. Send it out to them. Okay, and open your eyes. That was good. You don't have to do that for long, but it's a good practice to do. Whoops. Sometimes things, there we go. I love this art by Alex Gray. This is the new metaphor. This is when we think of all of us as a being of light, we can think of the outside doesn't matter, the personality doesn't matter. Everybody can be the Christ from their Christ self. We want to look past the personality, and we want to use the part of ourself that isn't the personality. Our personality isn't going to get it so much, but the Christ part of us, that part of us, the light part of us is actually going to get the light part of everybody else. This is the new metaphor for the Holy Family, the new metaphor. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word is truth, the Word is Christ's self, the Word is us expressing as God, just the way the peace pole is outside now instead of inside our meditation room. The Word is us consciously going out there and making that choice with real people to be that and to see that. Remember, energy follows attention. Let us bring our attention to the emerging future self, the highest potential self, and the emerging future community of Unity of Des Moines. One of the things we can say is we are committed to being a community expressing peace in our city. I witness the Christ within every child, woman, and man.